All right. You want debate, okay? But it can be too much noise, not enough signal. So I'm going to try a different way, all right? I got a guy on the left. I got a guy on the right. They each have issues they want to talk about, and I'm going to do them one at a time. And I'm going to start with Brian Tyler Cohen, all right? One of the rising stars of progressive podcasts, okay? And then in the next block, I have Turning Point Action COO Tyler Bauer. And he's, what Boyer wants to talk about is immigration. What Brian Tyler Cohen wants to talk about is the shutdown, okay? Day 30 of the shutdown. What's the pressure point? Poor people. 42 million Americans who use food stamps could go hungry. SNAP runs out. Then you got WIC, mothers and children, 6-7 million people there. They're going to have funding run out. Brian says Republicans are to blame for all of it. Progressive YouTuber BTC right now. Good to see you, brother.
Chris, great seeing you as always.
My God, look at how luxurious your beard is compared to
I knew you were going to go there. I've been prepping for this Movember for a long time. We'll get you there.
It looks good, man. It looks good. I got to tell you, I don't envy your arguments, but I envy your facial hair. All right, so give it to me. How are Republicans responsible?
Because they could end this right now. They are choosing to make this issue of the shutdown an issue where they pit the sick against the hungry. The reality is this is a false choice. We don't need to be here. Prior to this moment, we've been able to afford both the ACA subsidies and SNAP benefits for 42 million Americans. So you have to ask yourself, why are we here? And the reality is that the Republicans passed their one big beautiful bill. They cut $1 trillion from healthcare. That included 17 million people worth of Medicaid benefits, and they also cut $350 billion worth of SNAP benefits. So if you're wondering how we got here, it's because we're dealing with a Republican Party that has full control of government, House, Senate, White House, and their priority is not to continue these programs. It is expressly to cut them. That's why they did it. Don't listen to what they say. Just watch what they do.
Okay. I will talk to you about the policies, and I don't disagree with the needs and what should be priorities, but that's why you have elections. And Trump won, and the debt and the deficit were huge problems, and health care is something that is seen as having a lot of fat to it. Do I agree? No. But that is why they picked these things. Now, you leave something out. We are where we are because of your party. The Senate won't give the votes on the Democratic side to get past the filibuster for reconciliation. That is why the government shut down. It is not a question. That is a fact.
Nor should they. And you want to talk about what the American people voted for? It was Trump and Republicans who said that they were going to protect earned benefits, not completely gut them like they've done right now. 78% of Americans. Wait, let me finish. 78% of Americans, and I know that you've showed this stat on your show, the Kaiser Family Foundation.
This is true.
78% of Americans agree that Congress should extend these ACA subsidies. So if you want to talk about a mandate for the American people, this is it.
Yes.
You know, you had just mentioned a moment ago, too, that there was some mandate to cut spending. The Republicans blew a $4 trillion hole in the deficit because they wanted to give a tax cut to millionaires and billionaires. So on this issue, they're not even abiding by the thing that they promised on the campaign trail. There's no deficit spending getting under control right here. They blew the deficit up.
Look, listen, again, here's the debatable point. They say no. The tax cuts drove the economy. The first administration was much better than Biden's economy. Of course, he had the pandemic, but that's how the cookie crumbles. You got to deal with what happens on your watch, and that's why they want the tax cuts. I don't agree. But here is your problem, Brian Tyler Cohen. You are fighting the right fight, in my opinion. This is righteous. The subsidies are needed, and they wouldn't even be needed as much if so many red states didn't play politics and refused to expand Medicaid when they had the chance. And I have two ideas. The first one is right fight, wrong way, wrong battleground. Shutting down the government, and Schumer is a terrible messenger for you guys because everybody knows he did it. He doesn't want to make a deal right now because he thinks this pain is working for him. But this was the wrong way to have the right fight. And you can say this is the only leverage we had. I don't agree. You got to find a better way to have the debate.
It is the only leverage we have. The reality is that Democrats are in the minority in the House.
You'll never get what you want. You'll never get it. Nobody has ever ended a shutdown getting what they want. It doesn't happen because all we would have is shutdowns.
This is the only instance where the Democrats could put forward any leverage whatsoever. The vast majority of the American people are behind them. Like I said, 8 in 10 Americans agree that Congress should extend these ACA subsidies. And the reality is the Democrats are trying to save Republicans from themselves. You had just mentioned these ACA subsidy extensions. In the last 5 years, the states that have adopted the ACA enrollment have largely been Republican states. We're talking Texas, Florida, West Virginia, Tennessee. The pain is going to be felt among Republican constituents. So at this point, the Republicans really, I mean, it's win-win for them to relent here and come to the negotiating table. But Democrats would be fools, Chris. Democrats would be absolute fools to surrender what little leverage they have and just take Republicans at their word when they say, hey guys, we'll totally, definitely negotiate with you. All we ask is that you surrender all your leverage, open up the government, and then come sit down with us, the people who just cut $1 trillion from healthcare.
Look, I'm with you, except for a couple of things. One is shutdown should be illegal. You're putting the pain on everybody else in the interest of making things better for everybody else. I think it's a mixed message. I don't think it plays for you guys as well as you think. The second thing is this. Fetterman says he trusts Thune to have negotiations. We'll see if he's right or wrong.
Let me ask you a question on that. Let me ask you a question on that point.
Hold on. Let me give you my answer, and then you ask your question, and you get the last word. Cool. Here's the deal. We need the subsidies. Everybody wants the subsidies. You know they want the subsidies, Mr. and Mrs. Republican. I give you the reimbursements issue. You decide, Republicans, what states get reimbursed for giving emergency care to undocumented immigrants. Here, I give it to you. You decide the reimbursement rate, and you own it. I'm giving you that issue. It is not about giving illegals, that ugly word, a free health care. Here, you can have it. I want the subsidies. Present that to the American people. You win all day long. You won't do it. I don't know why. But I'll give you a last word. Go ahead.
Yeah. So on this idea that the Republicans can come forward and ask for the Democrats to relent, just open up the government and then we'll sit down with you. That's apparently what John Fetterman is saying that he takes John Thune at his word for. It goes the other way. Why not just sit down with the Democrats today, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, hammer out a deal to extend these ACA subsidies? Hammer out a deal to extend these ACA subsidies, and then you open up the government. Look, the Democrats are all on board. All they're asking for with what little leverage they have is to extend the ACA subsidies. They're not asking for the sun and the moon here. They're not asking, to extend, like, this isn't Green New Deal. There's no poison pills. It is something that, again, has the vast majority of support across the country among both Democrats and Republicans.
It does. It does, but not this way. Not this way. Nobody said shut down the government to do it. And you got hooked up on that illegals health care, horrible poison pill.
There is no. You and I both know that there is not a dime of federal funding that goes toward undocumented health care.
So give it to them.
Sure. I mean, that's not even up for debate. And the reality is they know it's not up for debate. They know that they're acting in bad faith. But I'm saying instead of surrendering the leverage that we have, ask these Republicans to come to the negotiating table right now. If they're acting in good faith when they say that they of course want to make a deal on ACA subsidies, do it right now. There's time today.
They will not reward the shutdown. They won't reward the shutdown because then the minority always does it. They have to pass a law that shutdowns are illegal, and then you can get into this. But I appreciate your policy points. I think you guys are fighting the right fight.
The Republicans should do that with the capital they have. But until then, this is it.
I got to jump. I love having the discussion. Let's have more of them, even though, man, you put me to shame. Not the arguments, the facial hair. It's killing me. I can't even look at you. You're too handsome. You're too young. Brian Tyler Cohen, thank you very much for debating it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.